So yes, so this course is WEB322. My name is Nauman Atiq, and I've been with Seneca since only last semester. I'm very new at Seneca. So I joined Seneca in January 2021. And alongside that, I've been involved at some other places, mostly with Conestoga. I'm mostly busy in Conestoga, so taking some different same kind of courses over there. And as well as I took one course in January in Fanshawe College as well. So, thanks to this online environment, that basically myself, I'm located in Waterloo, Kitchener Waterloo. So it means that I don't have to, physically move to this location. Otherwise it would have been, might not be possible to be with you people as well, because Toronto is so far away. And, it's almost very difficult to travel from here. Anyhow, so we are, again, as I said, we are from very versatile locations. Someone coming from eastern side, western side, southern side. So we are all collected here. So this course, WEB322, as I said, I have been with Seneca here, and I've been with this teaching and development and research since last more than 15, 16 years or so. I've been working on different web platforms, working on different with web browsers, with different technologies over the years, and also, as I said, involved in teaching it at different places. So as I said, in last semester at Seneca, I started teaching, and the first course that I started was WEB322, this one. But then I was also involved with WEB22. Okay, so one thing that I would love to see from all of you, that during recording, I would try not to take anyone's name. So again, just to keep everyone's name, not to be recorded, but I would like to have good feedback in the chat window. So if you want to say something, you can always unmute yourself as well. But if I ask something, I would be happy to get an answer in the chat window. So for example, the first thing that you people have done, and I would love to see this always in every class, that whenever you join a session, you come to the class, you join the class, just put up a hi or a hello message to everyone, right? A good morning, a hello, hi, good afternoon, whatever message. That shows us that we are now connected. As I see that chat window, excuse me, we are very much connected. We have got message from Redmill with some of the students, I'm sorry. And then most of the students have been putting these messages. So it will be good if you have not put a hello or a hi message. I would be happy to see that. Anyhow, the second thing is that so I would be happy to see your messages in the chat window. So what I understand is that you are already coming from this course. So again, I would be looking for a yes or no from you people in chat window. So I'm expecting that you people have studied this course before. Alex, thank you. Yes, I've got 3-4 responses. That's far more than enough. So you have gone through this course. You have worked on internet architecture. Again, you have been introduced to JavaScript, the functions, built-in globals, etc. Like again, you were introduced to JavaScript, and then you were introduced to HTML5, all important, all mother of all web languages, if I say. So you were introduced to HTML5. You have worked on structure of the elements and things like that. So this is the course that you people have studied. Okay. So you have said, most of the people have said yes. The other question is, did you, of course, I think my understanding is that you studied last semester, right? Is it right or wrong? Of course, last semester, like the January semester. So I have just put up a line so that I can understand that the new yes is for. So you have studied this course in January. Oh, okay. So that's an important point. Is everyone able to hear me properly, or it's only let me just stop recording. Okay, just hold on. So now I'm expecting that you have done this course, and as I asked, that you people have done this course in your last semester, correct? So this course was all about the front end of web development. I want to tell you a very important point here. Mostly students, they even at the middle of the course, they are not aware why we are studying this 322, why did we study this 222, or what will we be studying in future. So please bear in mind, in this course, you have discussed the most basic concepts of web development. By most basic concepts of web development, I mean that you have learned, as I said, you have learned the mother of all languages, maybe web languages, HTML5, that you will always find at the base of the concepts. And you have studied about the JavaScript, all important JavaScript that will never leave you again now, because we'll be discussing a lots of JavaScript in this course as well. But you are introduced to most of the concepts in JavaScript. You have talked about prototypal inheritance, what I understand. We have talked about the DOM programming, how to make changes in DOM. And why I am discussing this Web 222 here, that most of the things that you have learned during this course will be very helpful here as well. But the concept is that in Web 222, you studied about the basics of web. You studied about the most important traditional languages or environments that are used to develop web pages. The front end we are talking about, right? The JavaScript that you have learned was also mostly related to the front end. And then you studied about CSS. And I hope you enjoyed CSS. CSS is one of the very, very interesting, part of HTML5 school that deals with the looks and feels of our web page, the looks of our web page. And that plays a very, very important role. So what you studied was all front end and all basic technologies, basic tools that you should have in your toolbox if you want to be a web developer, at least for the front end side. What I understand from here is, again, if you have a question, you can just put it in the chat window. What I understand is that you know about front end and back end. I'm just taking this into consideration. Just a quick review. When we say front end, we are talking about looks and feels of the website. When we say back end, can anyone write in chat window what we are talking about when we say back end of a website? What we are talking about? Anyone in the chat window? Response? Yes, to start with the server, right. And yes, you're right, server. And anything else? Yes, exactly. And anything else? You're right, the code that runs on server. And anything else that we might be interested or might be talking about when we say back end of a web page? Oh yes, DB, databases. That's important. You must know this. And again, if this is new to you, again, in both of these terms, one of the students shared the server, the code that runs on server, and someone said databases. So you must be familiar with these two. These two, when you say we are talking about a back end of our environment, we are talking about the back end of our environment, back end of our websites. That's a very good description from two of you. Now listen about it. In this course, you talked about the front end more specifically, and as I said, the basics of front end, how you will just make a web page look greater, how you will make a web page structurally representative, structurally understandable, and how you can make changes in the structure of a document on front end, living on front end by using these technologies. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Now, when you jump into this course, Web 322, so you are coming from a front-end programming, basics of front-end programming, basics of those technologies used for developing websites. Now you are jumping into Web 322. So 222 has changed to 322. Now 322 will do what for you? 322 will introduce you to the back end or the server side of your website, which is a very, very important part of any website. Imagine a website without a database these days. Can you understand? If you know about the database, of course, I'm understanding that you people know what is a database. And just something a side note here. I always encourage questions. And in my dictionary, there is no such thing in this world as a foolish or a bad question. I love to have questions. And I'll be very happy to have a question if someone is there. I'm not expecting anyhow, but if someone is there, if they come in front and they say, I don't know about what DB is, database is in general. Of course, that might not be the case with you people, but anyhow. So I'm just giving an example that if you feel that you're such kind of a person, there is something you feel that I don't understand and I don't know what is this, and we have been continuously talking about that, you should ask them. Anyhow, so in this course, Web322, what we'll be doing, let me just make it a bit bigger. Congratulations, successfully completing Web2.2 and welcome to Web322. What we are doing, we'll be expanding our knowledge of web programming by writing our own web servers using the JavaScript. This is a very important part. I will highlight this part. So this is the gist of our course, like the main point of our course, why we are studying this course. In this course, we will start writing our servers, our web servers, our own web servers by using JavaScript. Here is a question. In Web 2.2.2, did you people run any server anytime? I am expecting you would have run a server over there as well. Did you people run a local server or a server, and you saw your web pages running on a server always? By server, I mean your own computer. Yes, exactly. That's very good. I would like to hear from others as well. Only 2 or 3 people, only 1 or 2 people are responding. You're right that you would have run HTTP server package to run the website. That's excellent. That's very excellent. And you have run an HTTP server. Anyone else? Did you people remember, other than someone who is replying continuously? So did you people remember that you have worked on servers? There was 127.0.0.1/ your website coming, and you were looking at your web pages, and then your web pages were running on those pages. Can anyone else other than this folk can just let me know that you people ran that one? Anyone? I'll wait for 3 seconds and then I'll just move on. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So yes, of course, you would have run. But now in this course, what we'll be doing, we will be creating our own servers. We will be creating our own server on hand. And secondly, not only creating our server, the HTTP server that you have used in your 2.2.2 was only a server that you were using to view your data on, to view your websites on. Correct? Here, what you will be doing? Here we'll be just not only creating a server, but rather creating a server that will take care of our requests. We'll be just asking something, it will go to the database, try to find something, send us back. When we'll again ask for something, it will go to the maybe database or some other page or some other place, try to find out some information, and then come up with that information to you. I hope that is making sense to you. So we have used HTTP server before, but now we will be creating our own servers. Not only a server that will be just showing my website, but a server capable of handling my website, handling my requests, taking my requests, and responding according to the requests. Does that make sense to everyone? I need a yes, other than those 2, 3 who are continuously replying. I need a yes from everyone. I'll be happy to see yes from everyone. That's good. You are again. That's good. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Right. That's very good. Okay. So it means that we'll be studying or we'll be creating our own web servers and by using the JavaScript. And that's a dynamic server-driven web application using JavaScript with Node.js and Express. Now, the very important part of it. So as we learn how, as you learn how to create dynamic server-driven web applications using JavaScript with Node.js and Express.js. Now, these are the highlighted part. Again, we have not formally jumped into our topic. Right now, we are making a base for that. So you will be creating dynamic websites. Can anyone please give me a definition of a dynamic website? Server-driven web application or dynamic web application. Can anyone give a one-liner definition in the chat window, or maybe unmuting yourself and give us the definition of what is dynamic website or what are dynamic web applications? A small definition to remember. Like for example, internet, the internet has many definitions. The definition that I always remember and I always ask my student to remember is network of networks. Enough. Network of networks. So you should only remember that is the best definition of the network, the internet. Network of record. Okay, information of fetching data from the back end and not statistically generating it. Oh, that's very good. I want feedback from the others as well. That's a very good feedback, and thank you very much. Almost the right thing. But let's talk others and how do they feel about dynamic web applications? Yeah, anyone. I would like to have some response. I just do what I will. So require less programming skills. There is a question. Let's first discuss that. Does server-side scripting require less programming skills? It's difficult to according to one of the students who previously said more complex. That implies that server-side requires more programming skills, right? That the implication of that comment is. But now let me answer your question. Does server-side script require less programming skills? The answer is no. No. And why no? That now you will have in server-side scripting that you are mentioning too. So let's simplify it. There are two types of scripting languages: client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Client-side scripting, you have studied all in your WEB322 over here. You have studied all those client-side scripting over here. Server-side scripting is something where you used server-side scripts. Likes of, let me name few things. Let me name few of them. PHP. Are you people familiar with PHP? Of course you should be. PHP. Are you familiar with that PHP? Of course. Or maybe not. If not, no problems. Yeah, but no one likes it, maybe. No one these days likes it. But anyhow, PHP and JSP, Java Server Pages. You will be familiar with ASP.NET or Active Server Pages, classical Active Server Pages, ASP. These all were what? These all were the server-side scripting languages or the server-side programming languages, right? So to answer your question, does server-side scripting require less programming skills? And I said no. Why? Because server-side now involves interaction with database. Server-side will involve interaction with your state information. Who is coming to my website? Who is going from website? How many visits have been done? How many people have, for example, like my something or etc. etc. You need to keep track of everything. So if you need to keep track of everything, do you think that you will be going from complex to simple or simplified to complex? Or maybe it's fair to say that you cannot compare these two things together. Sometimes some people might find that server-side script, client-side script is far difficult for me to learn. I don't want to learn it. Maybe it's very difficult for me, for JavaScript, for example. And sometimes some people say that no, it's PHP or the server-side script is very complex for me, and I don't want to learn that server-side scripting at all. So it all depends upon you. But anyhow, let's discuss about the dynamic website. So one of the definition has been given by someone. It changes for each viewer. So one of the definition that I want my students just to remember is that a website that shows updated or different contents to different users. A very good definition from someone. I'm copying this one from one of the student, one of your colleague, and it says that it changes for every. Okay. So this was the definition given by one. Yes, you can say like Netflix. Let me give you one. There are umpteen more examples. When you go to the google.com, you put in your email ID and password. So do you get my email box? Do you ever get my email box? No. Of course, you get your own email box. In the same way, you are saying Netflix, you are saying maybe YouTube or maybe other websites. When you go to them, you'll find the updated content. You talk about the news websites. If you go to the news websites, you will always get the latest news on your main page. And that those news, they are coming from the background, from somewhere else. Get it now? So there are different websites that are shown different contents to different users, right? So when you go to a website, it says, for example, it says welcome so and so. It will say welcome Namanatik, and there is some website which says welcome Mike or something. So it means that has been directly interacting with that user, and it's showing a different environment to them, right? So a website that shows different users to different contents to different. So here, what we are trying to do, we'll try to learn this dynamic and server-driven web applications, which will be run by server, and what technologies we'll be using. A good news is here, we are not learning, as someone said, you don't like PHP, of course. So you are not learning that. Rather, you will be using same JavaScript that we have learned. This is a good news. Why? Because the JavaScript that you have learned in your Web222 will be equally good for you in this course as well. Isn't that a good news? That's a very interesting news. And what else we'll be learning? This is very important. We'll be learning Node.js and Express.js. These are the two, not two, or let me just say this one, Node.js. How many of you have worked in Node.js before? You can write me. That's good. Anyone else? How many of you have worked in Node.js before? If you have not, you can write down N or not, no problems. That is a very valid answer, but no answer is a bad answer. Okay, anyone else? That's very good to know that there are some people. No. Okay, so mostly people have not worked, but again, one of our folk, they have done a very good, like they've worked in that. So that's good, and we'll talk about this, and I'll talk about that in a very much detail, maybe today or maybe next session, and we'll talk about it. But again, what we are doing, we don't need to learn anything other than JavaScript as a base language for our server-side development. But the background or the runtime or the environment that I'll be using is Node.js, and there is something called Express.js. We'll talk about both. And as I said, we'll first talk about the Node.js introduction. So please don't worry. But keep in mind, the one guy who has worked on that, they know that this is becoming one of the very hot and very important environment where people are working these days. Community increasing in exponential at an exponential rate, and there are lots of things being changing over there. So you might realize when you will just study that and you'll work on that, you'll come to know, okay, so there are lots of people who are doing this or following this Node.js and Express.js environment. So again, I'm summarizing this all. We will be studying server-side scripting. We will be studying dynamic web applications. We'll be creating dynamic web applications, a web application that is capable of handling our database, a web application that is capable of generating data on our request, a website that can handle requests. We'll be creating that website. And how we'll be doing that, the technology that we'll be learning, or maybe if I say the base language that we'll be learning is JavaScript, that we are familiar with already. And then we'll talk about some of the runtime environment, one of the runtime environment, Node.js, one of the environment, which will be used for creating the servers, so to speak. We'll be creating servers in that. And the good news, we will also be learning a host of new modern tools and technologies, as well as expanding on some of our current knowledge of JavaScript and HTML5. So this is good news that the something that you've learned in your last semester in your Web222 will also come good handy in your discourse, right? So that's another good news for us. So it should be a lot of fun, and by the end of this course, you will be able to effectively create, deploy, and debug web applications from scratch. You will be able to do that from scratch. Before we get started, please explore the course website and familiarize yourself with the policies, course structures, faculty, information, required softwares available online, so you can hit ground running, happy coding. So now, you know that what course what course is next in line after this course? You all know that? So Web422. So now this chain is complete. Let me just make it in a proper order. Web222, you have already studied about HTML, studied about JavaScript, studied about how to work in them. You are here in Web322, where we'll be, according to introduction, we'll be studying server-side or dynamic web applications. We'll be creating our own servers. We'll be talking about databases. We'll be talking about how databases interact with our website. We'll be talking about how to create forms, how to store those forms, things like that. And we'll be working on our back end of our application. Now, after completion of this, next semester, you are going to face this Web422. Interesting. So this Web422 again take you back to the front end. And interestingly, what we will study here in that course is Angular and React. Let me just ask a question here, and I am expecting that people will know this answer, of course, because I'm not asking to that folk who already knows it and who has already worked in it, but I'm just asking to everyone else. I hope you understand. So there is something called mean, there is something called MERN. Can anyone out of you, again, without using Google, can anyone tell me mean and MERN, or you have heard about this mean stack and MERN stack? I should call them stack or something. Mean stack and MERN stack. Have you people heard about that? If no, no problems. As you have mentioned no before, you can write down no. Or if someone knows, anyone knows, if you know, you can just write down mean and MERN stack. Okay, that's a very good answer. No, no problem. Yes, and the one who knows it, anyone? Okay, yes. Can you write down mean and MERN? What is the short form for that? Mean and MERN. The one who knows it. Okay. Let's discuss that. Let's discuss that over here. The first one, M, is for MongoDB, right? And then E is for Express. Yes, right. Now you are catching that. And A is for Angular. Let me tell you, it's Node.js. The last one is Node.js. You got it? And the same goes over here. So only thing changed here is the second one, not second one, the third one. Yes, React. Rest is same. MongoDB, Express, Angular, Node.js. MongoDB, Express, React, Node.js. Right? Yes. So this is a stack. This is a full stack. This is a full complete two pathways or two stacks that you can call them. The main deals with MongoDB with Express servers, Angular and JS, Node.js. Okay, something interesting. We'll talk about that. This second one deals with MongoDB, Express, React, and so this Angular and this React. These two are again the front end tools that are playing a very important role these days. Rather, I should say React is taking over Angular. Maybe that might be a right statement, but anyhow, both of them are working together. But anyhow, so Angular and React. So in 4.2.2, you will again go back to front end, and you will study this Angular and you will study this React. Okay, so what you will study over here? Interesting. Here you will study MongoDB. Here you will study Express. Here you will study Node.js. I hope that making sense to everyone. But in this course, we won't be studying Angular. We won't be studying React. And can anyone tell me why? Why won't we be studying this Angular and React? I've told you the reason. Just shortly, I told you the reason. Why won't we be studying Angular and React? One of the reasons is that it's not in the outline. But then is there any logical explanation to that? It's front-end technologies, and we are focusing on that. That's very good. Thank you very much. I was expecting an answer from you. So it's a front, like we are talking about in this course, we are talking about, let me just tell you, I'll have to just clear all drawings and then close this one. It's always very annoying to, it never gives you cursor back. Anyhow, so if you see here, so in this, we are talking about the back end. We are not talking about the front end. So as I say that this technology, like these technologies, R and A, please remember that React or Angular, both of them are again front-end, high-level front-end technologies. And you will know that if you know those technologies, but there is something missing. There was no talk of HTML or JavaScript in between. Did you people see in MERN or Mean? There was no talk of JavaScript and HTML. But why did we study that? So please bear in mind. This Express, this Node, even React, even Angular, or MongoDB maybe. To learn these technologies, you need to learn JavaScript. I'm going back, right? I'm going back to 2.2.2. You need to learn JavaScript because JavaScript is the basis of most of these front-end and back-end technologies. Node.js we have talked about. Node.js is based on JavaScript mostly, like it focuses on the JavaScript. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So it means that's why you have studied this JavaScript over here. Not only that, you need to have a very solid platform for your HTML, for your web development. So you need to know HTML5's structural, semantically structural elements that you have learned in your WEB222, and now you can use those structurally important elements and HTML codes in your in your server side application, as well as when you go again back to your Angular and React in your 422, you would appreciate that you have learned HTML and JavaScript before that. I'll be stopping here because I've talked a lot. I will take feedback from everyone. Is good till now, other than you who is continuously replying to my questions. Everything is good. I'll stop here for a second because it's I'm also tired of speaking more and more, and now I want you people to be maybe speak or write something. So far so good. Everyone understanding by because I found out in my last course that I did not discuss all these things in the beginning in that deeper detail. So some of the students were not clear till the end that why we are studying this 322. So why did we study 222 and why we are studying this 322 and what we are going to do by using this 322. I need feedback. Am I going fine? Am I going fast? Am I going slow? Someone, maybe for someone who has just replied, I will be going very slow. But for some of the people, let me just have I would love to have a feedback. I'm missing everyone. Looks like I'm talking to the wall. I'm talking to my laptop, my screen, my TV. Okay, going good. That's very good. So RR, you have just joined us and you have not renamed yourself. Can you rename yourself so that we can welcome you? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Right, so we are going fine, as some people said. So someone said that where we can find the course addendum. So let me tell you, the course addendum over here is, let me tell you, this is schedule over here. If you go to your schedule, for this course right now, this will be your course addendum or whatever you call it, because that mostly covers whatever you have in your addendum. And I will start with this one, right? So I'll just start with this weekly schedule first. Let me talk about the weekly schedule and then we'll talk about the rest of the thing. So please note that all assignments will be released on Friday of the week indicated and will similarly be due on Friday 1 or 2 weeks later, see below. So it's a tradition that you might have seen in your 222 as well, that our assignments will be released on Friday every week, like whenever they have to be released, and they will be due on Friday next. So that is something that you have to complete. So that will be a 1 week or a 2 week time. Sometimes assignment will be smaller one, as there will be assignment 1 today. So not today, maybe this week, as I said, in our next session tomorrow, I will just assign that. So it will be just open on Friday, and might be because it's a very little assignment of 5%, it will be due by next Friday. So that's a very easy assignment. You have to just put 1 or 2 lines and something like that. Each test will commence at the start of the corresponding lecture period. We will not have tests during the lab period. So lecture period means, again, the first session that we are doing, that is something going on right now we have. So we will have our lecture starting and we will have our test starting. Important point here is for you people who are not in our time zone, of course, on the same time zone, or maybe if you are in the same time zone, please bear in mind our test will be available for 24 hours. Does that make sense to everyone? Our test will be available for 24 hours. What does that mean? You can do it at your easy time, because someone said I am right now, I have a night time 11:24 or something, maybe someone says something else. So you will have a test open for 1 day. Of course, timing will be the same for the test. It will be half an hour or whatever. So whenever you start it, you'll have to complete that in half an hour, but it will be open for a complete day. 24 hours I will open your test for. So please don't worry about that I'm not in the right time zone. I'm very sleepy right now. I cannot do the test right now. Maybe no worries. You can just always do getting up early morning next, right? Because you will have 24 hours. I'm talking about someone who said that I'm in Bangladesh right now. So Bangladesh, if you are having night right now, you can just wake up in the morning, be fresh, and do your test, right? So that is something that you can do. So this schedule is subject to change. Student will be informed by any spell change via their Seneca email account. So again, if there is something changed, probably mostly it does not change. But of course, if something changes, you will be notified, of course. But mostly we'll be following this addendum, or will be following this schedule in its real sense. Okay, so this is the the schedule or the course that we are about to start. Course introduction, that we have just about something, and I'm anticipating that you people have started to grasp a bit of the concept why we are studying 322, and how or what we'll be studying in our 422, why we have studied 222. So I have tried to explain these things to you people, but I will be just more exploring those things. So in this week, first week, we'll have our assignment. And as I said, and as you have seen, the assignment will be available on Friday, not tomorrow, not Thursday. It will be available on Friday. And on Friday, it will open. And next Friday, you will have to submit that. You see, due on the next week, right? Because as I said, it's a very small assignment. And you will see that once you are done with your lab this week, like again, the next session, you'll be very good in that. No issues and no worries about that. Okay, so the first topic is course introduction that we have done, Node.js introduction. Now, I'm expecting all of you to be very good in that you see that both of the stacks that we have discussed about, the latest and greatest stacks that we talk about, you know that N was the part of both of them. Node.js. Okay, so just to have a informal start, someone who knows Node.js, can you give a definition or tell us what is basically the Node.js? Someone who knows about it, someone who is working in that. Can you just please write down a one-liner for that Node.js? What is Node.js? So I will give a complete introduction. We'll talk about Node.js. We'll do coding in that. We'll be very good in that. But right now, I just want to have a quick review from that folk that said that I'm already familiar with my the Node.js. A one-liner for Node.js, or maybe someone else can write down if they know about it. No problems. It provides server-side capability based on JS language. That's a very good answer. That's a very good explanation. Should I ask something? What Node.js is by itself? For example, I say .NET. You will say it's an environment. It's a platform. Oh, that's a very good runtime. It's a runtime. Thank you. You have renamed yourself. That's good to see you. Welcome. So yes, it's a runtime. Right? It's a runtime. No. I'm not. Yes, I'm not talking about .NET. I'm saying I mixed both of them. .NET is a framework. Node.js is a runtime, JavaScript runtime. So I should be very clear now. So .NET is a framework of technologies, and here we are saying that Node.js is a JavaScript runtime, and we'll see that what is that, and we'll enjoy that, of course, when we start Node.js in the next week. So we'll talk about that. Assignment 2 will be published, and assignment 2 is of 9%. So again, this will be of a good weightage. It means it requires 2 weeks. You see, it will require 2 weeks to be due. So it will open on Friday next, like second week, and it will be due by Friday of 4th week, right? So see here. Notice, so we'll talk about, and assignment 2, we'll have assignment 2 open over here, and assignment 1 will be submitted in the next week, the second week. Third week, we'll talk about JavaScript concept review. So by JavaScript concept review, we mean to say we will be reviewing, you know what? Let me just tell you. We'll be reviewing. How many of you know what is ECMAScript? ECMAScript. Or syntax standard word. Anyone else? And we shortly call it ES5 or ES6. Right now we are in ES6 maybe. ECMAScript 6 or ES6. Syntax standard. Yes, maybe. Anyone else? Yes, right. Syntax standard of what? Syntax standard for what? Anyone? For JS syntax standard. That's very good. So if you don't know about it, in this week, we'll be just talking about, first of all, we'll be talking about some of the JavaScript concept, the prototypal inheritance and the inheritance that you have studied in your WEB322. And also alongside, we'll be talking about ECMAScript standard and the code that we use, or the standards that we use by using this ECMAScript, right? So that's very good. Thank you very much. We'll talk about the ECMAScript. So test 1, third week, we'll have test 1. And as I said, Test 1 will be open today, like on Tuesday. Today means on Tuesday, 3rd week. And that will be open for 24 hours for you, and you can do that. And the concepts or the topics included will be week 1 and 2, weeks 1 and 2, and it will be of 10%, right? So then comes week 4, Express.js introduction, a very important part of our stack, mean or merge. Every stack has this E in that. This E is for Express.js. So we'll talk about Express introduction, and we'll talk about how to create Express servers in our Node.js environment. Assignment 3 will be published, and assignment 2 will be due on Friday. So that same Friday, this will be due, this will open up. This will be of 9%. And you have to submit that again 2 weeks time. 2 weeks time will be there. So processing form with Express.js. So we'll be processing forms, and this is very important. And forms are one of the very, very important part of web applications. I'm expecting that you people have done work on forms. Please reply on the chat window so that I know that yes, you have done that. So you have worked on forms. You know how to create HTML forms. You know how to style, give them style by using CSS, and how to give them style by using Bootstrap. Maybe have you people discussed Bootstrap as well? Have you people studied Bootstrap as well, like using Bootstrap to stylize anything, maybe forms or maybe our web application? Okay, you have done that. That's very good. You have, so as a class, you have done that. It's not an individual thing. Bootstrap I'm talking about. Okay, you just went over it briefly. So we'll talk about few things, because here we will be needing that, and I'll tell you that how we can just effectively use them. Bootstrap is another, you would have seen that it's something interesting, something very. So we'll see that how we can process forms with Express.js. So here you know how to style form again by using maybe Bootstrap or CSS. Here we'll talk about how you will using these. Will be processing these forms by using Express.js. That's an interesting part. And in week 5 we'll have our test 2. Week 3 and 4 the topic included, and 10% will be the weightage. Template engines. Another very important, interesting concept. Handlebars we'll talk about. Handlebar is one of the template engine. We'll see what are template engine. How do we just place our contents on template engines, and how we can show effectively some of the very complex things in a very, very easy way, easy format. And then we'll talk about these handlebars in these template engines topic. And then we will have assignment 4 open up, and assignment 3 will be due in this week. The week 6 we are talking about. Week 7 is our study break. June 28 it will be. The date will be June 28. Interesting. No midterm here. Be happy. There is no midterm. And rather, there is no final term as well. There is no exam in this course. It does not mean that you should be disappearing from this course now. So again, these all will be the evaluations which are going on here, right? So there is no midterm in this course. There is no final term in this course. And this is something. Was there a midterm and final exam in your 222 web 222? Yeah. So it's basically the same here as well. So it's not an exam over here. So that's a good thing to know. Okay. So right after study break, we'll go to something very interesting. We'll talk about something interesting. Relational databases. Relational database. Now, relational database is something another important part of it. What relational databases are, about what database you have studied already? Can you give me another feedback so that I know that what is your background? What database, relational or Oracle? You have studied Oracle. Everyone, like as a course? Because if one person replies that, okay, that's as a course. That's very good. So it means you are very much familiar with the relational databases. Yes, DBS 211. That's good. So relational databases, you are very much familiar with these databases and relational databases. Of course, we will use that knowledge, and we'll talk about Postgres here in this course. So test 3, and now you understand this naming convention, naming and everything over here. Test 3 will be this week, 7th week, and we will have week 5 and 6 included in that 10% of the quiz. Then we'll talk about MongoDB, another very important part of the mean or MERN stack. MongoDB. We'll talk about MongoDB. We'll talk about how we can create MongoDB, how we can create cloud-based databases, and we can store them in the cloud, things like that. I am not expecting that you have used, you have studied the cloud-based implementation of database in Oracle course, DBS 211. Have you studied some implementation of that cloud-based implementation of databases? That if you want to implement that, okay. So that's a very important part. I will give you very good extra information related to cloud technology, because the market is going in a direction where people are more and more inclined towards the cloud now these days, with the likes of giants, AWS. Yes, we are talking about Atlas here, and I'm talking about AWS. We are talking about Google Cloud Platform, GCP. We are talking about Azure, Microsoft Azure. So these are the cloud giants that are covering the market. And you being an IT professional, computer science graduate or IT graduate, you need to have at least basics of all these cloud technologies, I feel, when you graduate. And maybe you would have a cloud-based course somewhere. Of course, that would be maybe. But if it's not there, I would recommend you people, you should at least study about the cloud by your own, and that will really benefit you very much. And yes, we'll talk about the MongoDB and Atlas. Yeah, as you said, we'll talk about Atlas here and MongoDB. But I would recommend you people to just go and find about this cloud in general, like cloud technologies in general. So anyhow, then we'll talk about in 9th week Ajax review, practical Ajax programming. You know about Ajax maybe by 222, but we'll talk about the practical aspects of Ajax programming, and we'll see what are the Ajax concepts and how we can implement them by using practical approaches. So now test 4, and then now I'm not talking about these things, and I'm expecting that you people have basically already know about these things in general. Okay, so managing state information, as I said, if you have not heard about it, sessions and cookies we'll talk about. How many of you have heard about sessions and cookies? Sessions and cookies, those chocolate chip cookies that we have. So how many of you have heard about cookies and sessions? Okay, that's good. That's good. So most of you would have heard about it. Okay. So it's not with this spelling, by the way. It's with E, O-R-E. and surprisingly, how do I know Oreo's spelling? Because my kids love that Oreo, and I have to always bring in my grocery Oreo biscuits. So that's why I know the spelling. Otherwise, I would have also been spelling it O-R-I. Anyhow, so okay. So sessions and cookies we have, and we'll talk about this state information over there. And we'll talk about the assignment 6 over here, that security consideration. We'll see how to create our own certificates, how to create HTTPS type of something. And then we have test 5, which is week 9 and 10. And then we had to squeeze this a bit because this summer is of lesser weeks. So that's why we had to squeeze this test 6 over here. It will be just including week 11, this security consideration. So it's a small test, again, including only 1 week of studies. And the reason is that why? Because as I said, we had to just squeeze up this content because of lesser weeks that we have, right? Okay, so now come here. Summary: 6 tests, 50%, 10% each, lowest test drop. So good news. You can, out of these 6 tests, you can attempt 5 only, or you go for all 6. Your lowest one will be dropped automatically by the end. Does that make sense? Of course, that it's a 50% of the tests. So you will have to just, you will be working on that, and one of the tests will be dropped by the end of the term. Test patterns, MCQ coding. Just don't worry about that pattern of the test or quizzes. I will just let you know maybe next week. I'll just discuss about, or maybe like for example, if you see our test 1 is in 3rd week. So I would try to remember this, or maybe if someone can remind that in the 2nd week of study, I'll just try to remember that I will just tell you that what type of test 1 will be coming, because I will be just keep on changing the types of tests so that the tests are interesting and they are updated always. So mostly I'll tell you that what type of pattern will be there. No worries about that. So before that test week, I will be just letting you know. Okay, then we have 6 assignments, and they are also 50% of weightage. A1 is 5%, that will be available first week. It is of 5%, and then A2 to A6 are 9% each, right? So they will be just comprising of these 5 1, and then this will be of 5%. This will be of 45%, and yeah, yes, a lot of time. We are giving you 24 hours. No worries. But that will be having this 30 minutes test, right? Anyhow, so promotion policy: achieve an average 50% or better on all for assignments. Achieve an average of 50% or better on all tests. Achieve a weighted average of 50% or better on for the course. So again, please bear in mind. Keep this concept in mind. Never ever miss an assignment at least. And of course, you have the chance to miss one test at least, at most, but try to attempt all tests and all assignments. And you know that these dates are all defined over here. So you just don't need to worry about that, where we'll be having this test. So try to just be on time with your assignment, right? And try to be with everything you have, and be ready with your assignment. I hope that I've made myself clear about that. Right. So this is the addendum. If you talk about, this is the course structure that we'll be following over here. I'll put a link of this one in our course structure, like course shell as well, the course at Blackboard. I'll just try to put that as well over there. There's no worries. But again, you can have always, you can see this link over here, and you can always look at this schedule if you are missing something, you can always come back here. Okay, so talk about notes. Let's quickly talk about few things, and then I have not taken a break, by the way, and maybe I'll just wrap it up before some time, and I'll give you some time for doing something today. Okay, so notes, that we will have notes for every week. This is the first week notes that we'll talk a little about it. I will just talk about it a bit today. And if you go after that, every week has these notes. You can always come here. You can always study about these things. You can always have a very good look of these notes. These notes are very interesting. But of course, taking classes or maybe looking at the lecture videos is always very important. You cannot just avoid that. Class is one, a very important thing. You saw that we have a test, for example, test 1 comprising of week 1 and 2. So I would be, of course, that week 1 or 2 lecture notes are here. You can always come here and read about them. But there are few things that we'll be discussing in between. For example, I can give you a quick example today. There is no discussion of mean and MERN in those 2 weeks, right? But is that something we have discussed in our class? Yes. Is that something that I might ask in a test? Yes. I hope that makes sense. So it means the overall summary is that you need to attend classes, maybe as I said, synchronously or asynchronously. You need to attend classes, and class is always very important. Cannot be a replacement of anything, like the videos or online cannot be the replacement of anything. So you have all these notes over here. You can study about them. You can have a look at what type of things you have, and you can see that cookies and session authorization authentication that we've talked about. HTTPS considerations and things like that. You will have that one. And then we have this graded work. So please bear in mind, there are few policies, and I am expecting to follow those policies in a greater essence. So please bear in mind that you see here that 10% of file grade, the duration of test range from 30 to 35 minutes. Each test will be available to MySeneca 24 hours a day. Discuss with your professor. If you miss a test, there is no opportunity to do a replacement. However, absence due to illness or other reasons happen occasionally. As a result, you can miss up to 1 test without suffering the loss of the grade. So we have talked about that you can miss 1 test for any reason, and we are expecting that you should not be missing more than 1 test. So the effect of this policy will be extended to all students. At the end of the course, your lowest test result will be discarded, leaving your best 5 results. So it's a fair policy. If you miss out a test, still you will be equivalent to everyone. Why? Because everyone will be dropping their lowest test grade. Assignments. We have planned 6 assignments during the term. Most assignments have a 2-week lifetime. If you do not submit an assignment by due date, its grade is 0, and there is no opportunity to earn marks for the late submission. Please consider this one. I would stop here, and I will salute this line of text here. That please try to submit your assignments on time. It always creates a lots of confusion on our part and on your part if you miss out an assignment, and then it happens that so because in every assignment you will be having a chance of what, if you are unable to do assignment 2, for example, and assignment 3 has been published. You did not submit assignment 2, maybe because of some reason, some genuine reason. So you can always have a working copy of assignment 2 from me, from professor, right? So you can always copy, you can ask always. For example, you may start assignment 3, because these assignments are, again, they are also scaffolding on each other. So assignment 1 based on assignment 2 is based on assignment 1, 3 2 on 2, and 4 on 3, etc. like that. So you'll always get this opportunity to get your. So each assignment will be worth of 9% of your final course grade, except the assignments, assignment 1, which is assignment 1 here, which is what 50%. The total value of final assignments will be 50. Submission policy. Assignment must be created to specify the assignment specification. Late assignment submission will not be accepted and will be getting a grade of 0. Important note: posting your assignment solutions anywhere online, Stack Overflow, public GitHub repositories, constitutes a violation, etc. You can always look at this academic integrity cheating or something. These are all very, very, very important part of it. And these are all repetition of that one. Makeup replacement tests, no. Due date extensions, no. Please bear in mind. So it's something very, it's something to ponder about. All right. Okay. So now what I'll do is that I would like you people to look into some things, and I will just quickly look at few things that you might be doing. Please respond in the chat window with a yes or a no, of course, that you have got Visual Studio Code in your system installed. Yes or no. Visual Studio Code we are talking about, VSC. Yes, that's good. One yes I've received too. That's very nice. Okay, you have Chrome and Firefox installed. Of course, Chrome and Firefox. So mostly you people will have that Chrome and Firefox using Edge. Okay, that's good. If you are using Edge, that's also good. But again, most of the times you'll be thinking to change that one. So you have got all those browser developer tools in Firefox and Chrome that we can work on. Have you people worked on these tools while you are working in Web2.2? Are you people familiar with these tools that we have that we can use to find out the console area, the network area, the performance and the elements and the styles and everything? That's very good. Security. So you have all these panels available. Okay. So core technology that we're talking about, as I said, ES5 and ES6, ECMAScript 5 and ECMAScript 6. So we'll be talking about this ES, and we'll be talking about that, these arrow functions, class definitions, block scope, promises, one way or other, binary and octoliterals, modules, and many, many more. So we have lots of things that we'll be discussing. Okay. So other than one guy, how many of you have Node.js installed into your system? Node.js. Okay, you do have. That's very good. Someone else. So, and someone else is also having Node.js. Very happy. And anyone else? Do you have Node.js installed with you? That's very good. Good. So you people have Node.js installed, and you might have a little bit worked with that Node.js, and maybe you have created that HTTP server by using that Node.js environment, or maybe something, or maybe you have worked on that Node.js. Yeah. But that's a good thing to know. Anyhow, so you people have Node.js installed. Okay, don't worry about these things. We'll talk about all these things when we'll be just working on that. So just don't worry about these technologies. We're just right now talking about that. jQuery, have you people worked with jQuery as well? The jQuery? You say no. Someone says no. A little bit? No. Okay. So I will try to squeeze up few of the section, and we'll try to, okay, that's good. Someone has worked on that. So I'll try to just introduce you to a very important basic concepts of it, or maybe some concept that will help you in working on jQuery. So no need to worry about that. We'll try to squeeze them somewhere else. Even though this jQuery has been taken out from the content this semester because of, again, squeezing them down, but I think I will have some time to introduce that one as well, or talk about that one as well. PostgreSQL. So I'm not expecting any one of you has worked in that. Maybe, of course, in a course, maybe, but we'll talk about Postgres over here, because we will be just working. When we'll talk about relational databases, we'll be talking about PostgreSQL. We'll talk about PostgreSQL. MongoDB, this green leaf, which is everywhere now these days. Green leaves we are finding on Toronto everywhere. So this green leaf MongoDB is what we'll be talking about as a NoSQL database, a database that has a interesting NoSQL type of database. We'll be talking about that Atlas as well, and we'll talk about how how to store databases, maybe locally in your system as well, maybe on cloud, maybe somewhere else, accessing some of the database. So we'll just talk about all those things in general. Okay, so here they have started the review of how web works, which I'm not doing right now. I'll be just leaving you with for some things that I'll give you a quick task for today. And that task will be this one. If you can see, Heroku guide. Okay, so Heroku. Has any one of you used this Heroku before? So there are lots of things that are coming up our way today. Has anyone used this Heroku to upload something, to publish something? Okay, you say no. Anyone else? No. Okay. Okay, right. So for this course, to work on this, you will need to work on Heroku. What is that Heroku? I'm just giving a quick sense, and I will just, as I said, I'll leave you with all these steps. You'll have to follow that, and hopefully you will be done that. But let's have a quick introduction of that. And in next session, I will just talk about more and more about Heroku and more about your problems that you face during this process. The main server environment that we'll be using is Web322 is Heroku. So what is Heroku on their website? It says Heroku is a cloud platform that lets companies build, deliver, monitor, and scale apps. We are the fastest way to go from idea to URL, bypassing all those infrastructure headaches. Right? A quick introduction. It's a cloud-based platform. It's something in cloud that becomes rain, right? So that lets companies build, deliver, maintain, monitor, and scale. You know, these are very, very, very important part of something. And I will just leave you with some teaser questions as well. I would like you people to just study about CI/CD if you do not know about it, right? I'm just leaving that as a teaser introduction. I'll talk about that. So companies want to build, companies want to deliver, companies want to monitor, and companies want to scale their applications. To do that, to save yourself from all the infrastructural details, infrastructural messes, what you do is that you will use Heroku instead of that. What Heroku promises or says, we are the fastest way to go from idea to URL. They say that if you use us, we'll be just quickly taking you to the URL. No worries about the infrastructural headaches, what will be running, what will not be running, how the server will be handling, how something will be happening. Heroku says, I'll take out all those things. Right? So I've just given you a teaser topic as well, CI/CD. We have to study about CI/CD. I'll ask about that CI/CD in the next session in this week. Right. So now if you talk about essentially, Heroku manages the hardware infrastructure and deployment tasks for our Node.js applications in a remote server environment. Developers using Heroku can extend their applications by incorporating components from a large marketplace, featuring components like database servers, scheduling components, toolkits, monitoring applications, all managed remotely on their servers. Developers just need to provide the code and Heroku does the rest. So in essence, what you understand from Heroku right now is that you can understand that it's basically a server environment that will save me from hassle of having different things collecting together to run my application. Rather, I will create a Node.js application. Rather, I'll create an Express.js application, and I will just put that on Heroku, and Heroku will take care of my application. Does that make sense to everyone? As I said, I will just explain all of a bit. Now, what you have to do, I'll be just leaving now with this task. And what I need from all of you is that when you are done with these all steps successfully, if you see here, it will say here, congratulations, you have published your first Node.js application online. We'll continue the short semester. So again, without knowing what is going on, without understanding what is going on, you have to just follow up these steps. What are those steps? First, you'll be creating your account in Heroku, right? Go to Heroku, create your account. You will be using your Seneca email address, by the way, right? And you will be just doing something like that. Required software, by now you should have Node.js and Visual Studio Code, which is already with you people, you have said. However, you will also need two other pieces of software, Git and the Heroku CLI. So these are the two things that you might be needing. Git, I hope you are familiar with this Git. And as I said, I will be just explaining Git and everything. But right now, as you have to see that you have to download this Git from this download page, proceed install to get the default settings and all these things, Git dash version. You will know that what version of Git has been installed in your system. And then next we need the Heroku CLI. So you can install that Heroku CLI, the command line interface or Heroku account. This can be downloaded here. You need to install that, and then follow step this one, and then you have to stop. Now you have to create our first application. And as I said, right now might be you are not familiar with most of the things. For example, this server.js code, but maybe if you are familiar, that's very good. If you are not, no issues. You have to just copy this code in your server.js, and then please try to follow each and every step in its original sense. And once you are able to follow this in original sense, if you have any questions later on, you can always come up and you can ask that. So what I will just leave you people is that for today's rest of the session, what you people will be doing, you have to set up this Heroku account with you. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Right. Yes, it's easy. You are right. It's easy enough, and it does not it is not